because people still try to act as if they don't have anything to do with each other. Like content creators don't have a say and don't move the meter on political parties and president races. That's why That's why Hillary was so pressed to go do the Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? That's why Bernie Sanders is in alignment with the Killer Mikes of the world and all that. Like, come on, fam. Let's stop acting like we don't have power for real. And content creators of color really push the meter of shit.
Why they get certain performers for their rallies?
100%.
All that shit.
100%. So I thought another good point was trying to figure out Apple don't get a lot of shit wrong, but I think they got this podcast shit wrong.
Think so?
That's
go ahead,
exactly.
go ahead. Set it up.
Like, that's exactly what I was saying. For Spotify to grab Joe Rogan for those 3 years, when Apple, it's been on niggas' phones since the beginning.
Yeah.
So
When
at
people-
one point in time,
when people were like, "What's this podcast shit on my phone?"
exactly.
What is
Back-
this app?
Remember when, I'll never forget, we was at your old spot in Richmond, and me and you was talking about it, and there was people there, and they were like,
Oh,
"That's what that app's for?" And we-
me and Lex having a whole it's hella people at the house, so we having a whole conversation about. And that's what we bonded over was like, I was maybe either you said it or I said it. Somehow we talking about Joe Rogan. You listen to Joe Rogan? Like,
and next, we going pod for pod.
Yeah.
But do you fuck
you
with
Combat Jack? Like, and everybody's looking like you two nerd motherfuckers are insane, But it was I still. And I, one of the people I thought about was Combat Jack, because he's like, when you talk about the godfathers of podcasting, I think of Joe Rogan. Like, I give him his flowers. Mark Maron, Juan Epstein, both Peter Rosenberg and Cypher Sounds, and fucking Combat Jack. And when you talk about catalog and IP, intellectual property, where Combat would be if he was still alive today, and he was already doing business with Spotify. He was the first podcaster, dog. Like, for real. He did that special with Chris Lighty, so it was coming. It was coming, and then he just didn't get to live to see it. So God bless him, his family. A King, I tried to reach out to A King a year or so ago just to check on him, because I know he's still doing stuff. And Loudspeakers Network is still doing great. So it's not like Loudspeakers like drowned or crumbled or anything. But in terms of like kicking the door, there was a black man that kicked the door down for podcasts. I just want people to know that for real. Like, Combat was at the forefront fighting for the advancement of podcasts.
It's usually a black man that kicks down the door for shit.
Facts.
we got stronger legs.
It's just the way he said it.
Yeah, that's real.
But how retroactively, what do we see DSPs doing? Tidal from the rip was really good about what they did with Rap Radar. I think what Spotify did will allow, and it's funny how things work, how the market works. And how you're a homeowner now. You work in real estate. Like you guys have a great understanding of that, and some of our listeners both are homeowners and own real estate, so they understand like market value and shit for real. And so, what I am encouraged by for content creators is the DSPs of color, with ownership of color. I mean, is what I should say. Your Titles and your Revolts. What their shares will be valued at because of what Spotify did and the increase, how that'll help Tidal go, oh, we can invest in a Rap Radar and their visual aspect and really move the meter. When Joe Budden and them's contract comes up for negotiation again, they can push Tidal to give them a bigger bag and shift culture for real. I'm encouraged by that, and I hope that that's the play. I hope that Joe, Hove, and all them sit down and really go, oh, we can really fuck things up. Because I love Spotify. Like, I don't have no beef with Spotify. I love what they're doing with.
You think that'll happen?
I hope it does. I know that's wishful thinking. I hope it does though, because I love the interface of Tidal. I love who's in the building, and what it could stand for. And so my hope is that more creators of color, we can go there and up the value of a revolt, up the value of a title, and go do things there, as opposed to having to deal with the complexes and all that shit in the world, man. It's just a wishful thinking part of me.
I just take Hov as like a person that, like, he puts business first all the time.
Facts.
But I think he also does hold on to certain things, and I feel like Joe may have rubbed him to the point where there's no business to be done.
Then that's a flaw of Hov. Then if that emotion won't allow him to do business with that, because regardless of how we feel about Joe, that show's massive.
No, it is for sure. That
wasn't they title trying to get Joe at one point?
They were before they went to Spotify. That was, I think Spotify just outbid them at the end of the day. That's all it was. I think it was as simple as the Spotify was willing to give them a bag, and Hov would be the first one to tell you, "Is like, nigga, you have to go get that then." Like, I just on the strength of the culture, you staying here If and then it's different too. If title's anywhere in the wheelhouse of what Spotify could have given them, then that's a different conversation. But if it's nowhere in the wheelhouse, even I'm not gonna tell you like, no, you need to go get that, because it's only I think their deal was only 3 years, right? Yeah. So,
and they don't own Joe's intellectual property. Yeah,
it was another licensing deal. Yeah. Like, again, like, you got to give a nigga credit. Like, Joe Rogan's got a couple thousand episodes, but it's because his deal that Spotify was able to go give Joe Rogan a super bag. You know what I'm saying? So.